Do you have a friend? Are you in a relationship or a family member or coworker that comes to you with their problems and you really care about them and you want them to do well and you think highly of them and they seem to always ignore resolving their problems? They just continue to just come and just complain about the problems and whine about it, and it just never gets resolved. And when you tell the truth and when you're honest and you're open about it because you care about them and you want them to do well, then they cut you off or they ignore you or they choose to like come back at a later time. So how do you really deal with that? Like, do you want to be fake and just not authentic and just lack those genuine qualities of just like hiding the truth, and then you just see them like self-destruct and they don't have any way to like really fix their problem because they're not strong enough, or they just lack the mental toughness to really to just resolve the problem that keeps holding them back in their life, and the self-sabotage that continues to go on, and that you just don't believe it when they say that they want to say resolve this problem, when you just know it's not going to be resolved. You know it's going to keep going on and on and on and on and on. And I mean, do you wait around for somebody to return? I mean, if it's a family member, you know that you're going to be connected, you know, because you are related, so you'll hear from them again. If it's a friend or in relationships, I mean, relationships have that connection, and yeah, friendships have that connection as well. But what do you do in those cases when it's not family and it's someone that is in those situations that where you feel like that you want to help them and you want to see them do good, and then they just don't show enough, like they're not serious enough. They're not serious to address the challenges and obstacles that they have a hand in creating. Because it's really, I mean, unless we're in jail or we're in a situation where we're restrained or something, like blocked in a way, then we should be able to deal with our problems, especially ones that take up our time and our energy. But there's this, sometimes like some people just don't want their problems resolved. When you tell them the truth and you tell them like that you want your problems, you want this problem, you want to continue to live this life because you could easily resolve it. It's resolvable. Nobody controls us. Our life doesn't control us. Our problems don't control us. So why do we allow problems to persist unless we're lacking in different other areas, like in our value and respect for ourselves, and that we don't love ourselves? And those are the things that could block us from confronting problems that set us back and waste time in our lives. So what do you do? How do you deal with these problems? Like, how do you deal with these people that you want them to do well and you want them to live a better life, but they just don't, like, it's almost like they don't believe that they deserve that better life. Do you continue to just keep experiencing conflict with them because every time there's going to be a point where they're just going to shower you with their problems and you want to help them, you want to support them and be there for them, and then the moment you say one little thing, like that triggers them, and then all of a sudden they're angry at you. Are they angry because they're guilty, or they know it's the truth and they just don't like the truth? Or do they feel like that you're judging them and being critical of them? So how do we continue to care for these people that are important to us and still maintain a healthy relationship? Well, the best way, I mean, sometimes when you have to say things, you have to be like, in my opinion. I have to make suggestions, or it's my thoughts. This is what I think. When you have to start talking like that, then you're just not being real. You don't. It's like you can't even be real. You can't be like honest in the way that you talk, because you have to. It's like you're walking on like little, like needles and stuff, and saying like, I don't want to get my feet stuck. It's like you just can't be authentic. What if you're authentic? Then you have to change the way that you act. Like, you can know the truth and you just don't want to help them because you don't want them to get mad at you. I mean, sometimes we have to, be honest, be tough. And if we stand to lose someone, then so be it. So we want them to live a better life. We want them to make better decisions. And when they're in a situation where they just keep making these same mistakes, self-sabotaging, and doing things that are just holding their dream back, or their goals, or just the problems that just continue to linger around in their daily life, I'll tell you how to deal with those people. You be honest. If you want them to improve their life, be honest with them. Tell them, like, this is what I think, this is what I believe. And if you don't believe it, then, I mean, it's up to you to take certain advice. But, you're not helping them if you just stay silent. You're not a real friend, or a real spouse, or a real family member if you just like ignore them and just say, you know what, I'm not going to say these certain things because I don't want them to get mad at me. I don't want them to cut me off, or I don't want them to just really do silent treatment, or stonewalling, where they just like totally step back and ignore you like you're just not a person because they know that it's hurting you. What if it doesn't hurt you anymore because they do it so much that you become stronger at it? But at the same time, you still do care about them. I just think that the best way is to be honest with them, to be open about what you think, and it's up to them to make the decision. And if they're going to step back and they're going to say, you know what, I'll come back at a later time, then say, that's cool, I'll be around. But don't even think about them. Like, how are you going to deal with that situation when they do disappear and you don't know if they're going to come back? Or maybe you do. You have to be confident that you've done enough, you've been supportive, you know that they're going to value you. And maybe they're overwhelmed and they have stress and they have a lot of pressure in their life. And maybe the truth is that they don't want to deal with their problem because they have these fears of something within them that draws them into that problem. I mean, how do you deal with a problem if you have fear? Sometimes people just allow the problem to drive them nuts. And you know what? Sometimes it's up to them to find out on their own that certain people just don't treat them good, that they deserve better, and they need to realize that themselves. You could tell them they deserve better, and if they don't have confidence, they may not believe that. They may believe that they might find a worse life out there, that having a better life will mean meeting worse people, and then they're afraid to leave something because they hang on thin thread, hang on to something that's terrible already, and then they accumulate more terrible people, and then more people that just don't care about them. So the best way to deal with these people is sometimes they just need to find out on their own that the truth does hurt, and that they need to confront these situations. And we can't really tell people, it's like we tell them, like, we're not trying to control your life. We're not trying, it's your life. No, like, it is my life. And I'll deal with it the way I want, and you deal with your life, and I deal with my life. And you might get those type of responses. You might always be there. You might spend a lot of time with them. You might always, care and put all your energy into them, and then one day they just come back saying you should listen to what you say. You need to think about what you said. And that's being sensitive. They're being sensitive in how they respond with their emotions. That sometimes there could be some guilt. Maybe they know that they're living their life a certain way and they don't like it. And that, that you're brave enough to share that. Share the truth. I mean, sometimes you can't always share the truth because some people are not ready to hear the truth. They're not ready to live that good life. They're not ready to make decisions that will better their life. But what if you could be there to guide them? But what if they don't want to be guided? It just really depends on how good of a life you want to see them make. I mean, because there's really not any better way to help them if you are trying. You're not trying to change them, but there's just no real way of helping them if they don't want to be helped. I mean, have you had a friend that says, contact me when I deal with my problem and I'll be, ready later on? I mean, how do you take that? That you have ongoing communication for a long time and then they're just dealing with this big problem that that they could easily resolve, and how they could resolve it, but they just don't want to resolve it. I mean, how else can you tell them that people will not change something that's bad until they get tired? They get stuck in these relationships, they get stuck in these toxic friendships, and they don't get treated good. And they need to realize that they deserve better, that they have a lot of value and respect and love for themselves. You gotta love yourself though. Otherwise you're gonna allow people to devalue you, to disrespect you. Because if you don't love yourself, you don't love anything, then you're not gonna value and respect it. So when you encounter those people that assume that you're criticizing them, they assume that you're criticizing them and you're really not. You're trying to help them and they just don't see it. It's almost like they think that you expect something and you don't. You don't expect anything. You could tell them that. But when you have to keep reminding them that, then what type of relationship is that? That I'm doing this for you. I care about you. I have feelings for you. I love you. And when some people just do too much, then those people look like they're really needy. And sometimes we know people that are dealing with those situations where they have those type of people in their lives. And we know how to help them to get rid of those people because those people are not good for them. But it's just they see it, but they're just not there's something missing. There's something missing that will give them the strength to just say, you know what? I want to get away from this problem. I want to live a better life and I deserve it. But then they just don't react. They're not serious. When people, just like with dreams, when people want to live their dream, they're just going to do it. They're going to react. They're not going to tell everybody this is my dream and not do anything about it or wait for another time until it's better. To wait until another time where they can live their dream. If they're serious, they're going to take actions right away. Serious people get shit done. They don't wait, for miracles. They don't wait for another time. Just like when people have problems, if they want their problem gone, then they're going to confront it. They could get rid of that problem today, right at the second. They could get rid of it at this very minute. But if they allow that problem to persist, that means that there's something within them that wants that problem to remain a fixture in their life. They don't want to get rid of it. It's almost like they crave that conflict. Meanwhile, their better life is put on hold. Their dreams are put on the back burner and they just don't get anything done. And it's everyone else's fault but their own. But we have to take accountability. personal responsibility, to confront the problems that could be part of us, the problems that we could create. I mean, we have a choice. How do we deal with these problems? And we could change anything we want at any time in our lives. But sometimes we have to realize that this problem, if it goes unresolved, will destroy our future. Are we going to allow it to ruin our health, to ruin other relationships? Really, that's the question you have to ask yourself. Like, do I want these people to be a part of my life if they continue to just allow their problems to destroy everything in their life, and to have all this fear, and then maybe you'll just only hear their problems all the time, and there just won't be a lot of discussions about anything else but their problems, and you're okay with it. You want to hear their problems, you want to help them, but do they want to be helped? That's what you have to ask yourself. Like, do you want to remain, a friend, or be in a relationship that's all about problems? I mean, sometimes somebody has to, defer. Like, they could accept hearing, these chronic problems. But the thing is, like, how do you, talk to these people without, angering them or upsetting them? It becomes like a confidence thing. Because when some people have low confidence and low self-esteem, then if you tell them anything that possibly secretly they may be struggling with inside, then they may get angry with you. They may not want to talk to you right after, and they might believe that you're picking on them, or putting them down. But the thing is that you're being honest, you're being open to share that, because you've reached a point where you're able to share that, and you assume that the relationship is good enough to share that they need to confront the problem.